Let's travel back several years to some of the advice that I gave you about decluttering your home. I was only a few months into this process, but had made quite a bit of progress. I want to see how my advice today compares to the advice I gave you then. When I started on this journey, I just made a checklist of all the areas in my house that I wanted to declutter. I knew this was going to take some time because it was my entire house, so I knew that there was no way this was going to happen overnight, but I knew that if I was organized and strategic with my planning, I could get it all done. A couple of ideas for making your list. You can write down in order maybe what you want to do, starting with simple 10-minute tasks, but I also recommend starting, as another idea I should say, starting in an area that's going to make a huge impact. So I personally started in my kitchen pantry because it was driving me crazy, and I knew that I went into my pantry multiple times a day. So getting that decluttered and organized was going to be a huge benefit to me. So when you make your list, keep these things in mind. Just bear your personality in mind. Do you want to do little tasks? Do you want to start with big ones? And you might not even make the list in order, but just kind of brain dump all the areas in your house that you're going to do. That's what I did. I definitely still recommend making a list. In fact, I like to take a clipboard throughout my house, and it's amazing the areas that I would have forgotten if I had not had that clipboard with me. So I definitely recommend doing that. And then if you're going to start with a large project like a giant pantry or a closet, because you feel like this is going to make the most impact, I would be really careful not to do too many large projects right at the front. That really can lead to burnout, which is what ended up happening to me, so just be careful. I highly recommend documenting your progress. Go through your house as it is. Do not touch a thing. Do not do a quick tidy, and just take pictures of the bedrooms, under cabinets, inside closets, open up drawers. Take pictures, and then as you declutter areas of your house, also take a picture so that you can see the progress that you've made. I've heard before that your mind really adjusts quickly to the new look of your home, so it's easy to forget how it actually looked before. One thing I've really noticed is it can be very hard to stay motivated when decluttering. It is a ton of work, so keeping that progress always in front of you by taking pictures is still something that I like to do today. I love the idea of setting a decluttering goal, a time frame goal, whether that be today I'm going to declutter for 30 minutes and I'm going to get this specific task done. I'm going to go through all the Tupperware and I'm going to go through the spices. Or you can say, today I know I've got a little extra time or a little less time, and I'm going to spend X number of minutes on these projects. Short-term goals, long-term goals, however you choose to do it, or maybe a combination of both, is really, really helpful to keep yourself on track. Now, with my experience of over 5 years of decluttering and trying to maintain a more clutter-free home, I have a little bit more of a perspective on this one. Yes, while it is good to make goals and set really nice habits in place for decluttering, it can also lead to discouragement and overwhelm because everyday life always happens. So I think making sure that you set your realistic expectations is very important, because I had set an enormous goal when I started decluttering my house, and when things don't go like you planned, things come up, I feel like you have a tendency to just give up altogether. So make sure, yes, set goals, put good habits in place, but make sure that it's okay if things don't go like you wanted to. Just pick right back up where you left off and don't sweat it. I think there can be a lot of pressure around decluttering, and sometimes that is not very helpful. All right, if you start getting into this and you're feeling overwhelmed, or if you've taken a big, long decluttering break and you're just having a hard time getting the ball rolling again and finishing up, I really suggest remembering why you're doing it in the first place. So knowing your why is so personal. I will tell you what mine is just to kind of give you some ideas of what I mean by this. But for me, I knew that I wanted to spend way less time cleaning. I felt like I was cleaning for a couple of hours a day, and that was time away from my kids. And I could not stand that another second. I also spent a lot of money out shopping and accumulating, and I just felt that wasn't fulfilling me anymore, and that it really hadn't been fulfilling me ever. I just had kind of tricked myself into believing that that was going to bring me fulfillment. So I just didn't want to consume like that on that level anymore, and I wanted to be able to give. So I knew that if I could donate things that were in my home, that I would really be doing some good, and that made me feel really happy. So I had a few really solid reasons of why I wanted to start this journey. Looking back, honestly, I don't think I could have completed the task of decluttering my entire house if the why was not in the forefront of my mind. And it had to be a lot bigger than I just wanted to stop cleaning. The reason had to go a lot deeper than that. I wanted to spend more time with my family because I didn't have to clean so much. So go as deep as you can, figure out your reasons why, keep them written down in the forefront of your mind, because like I said, things come up, things kind of can get discouraging, and when you have that why right there in front of you, it really helps you either pick back up or keep going. I really suggest being willing to invest some money into areas that matter to you. So for the longest time, I had my pantry full of these bright blue Dollar Tree bins. And I had been really excited initially because I thought, oh my goodness, this is so affordable. I did my whole pantry in like $20, and I was really proud of that. But honestly, I was never inspired by the space. I never felt very motivated to keep it clean because I never loved it to begin with. So it wasn't until I let myself spend a good amount of money on my pantry project that I knew that I would care a lot more about it, I would take better care of it, and it has stayed organized. So sometimes you really do want to think about where you want to spend the money in your home to buy different organization bins or baskets, and they do not have to be expensive. Don't get me wrong, mine was just a little bit of a project because I needed so many. So many is what I was trying to say. But it's interesting looking back. At first I thought, oh, I don't like this blue color. They're flimsy. That's why I'm not motivated or inspired to keep this space clean. Honestly, the bins didn't fit. That is what it came down to. So whether you end up investing a lot of money or not, and don't let a lack of money and ability to purchase fancy organization projects ever stop you. But just make sure that you get bins or containers that fit the space. That will get you so far when trying to organize your space. One thing that I do is keep a box in the trunk of my car that I go ahead and fill up as I go throughout the weeks. And once it's full, I can go ahead and donate it. But you could also have a pretty basket in your home that you just let everybody know, hey, if you're done with something, just put it in here. We can give it to charity. And that's just a really nice thing to kind of just have one donation spot that you are able to just fill up as you go, especially as your home gets more and more decluttered. This is a nice thing to have because you're not necessarily decluttering so much at once anymore. After reading the book Atomic Habits, I realized that the more convenient and obvious a habit is or a task is, the more likely you are to follow through. I don't actually like the idea of keeping a donation bin in your car because it's very inconvenient to go out there and open up your trunk and try and put the donations in there. I like so much better having donations in a couple spaces in your house. Have them visible, especially in the beginning when you're just decluttering. Make sure everybody knows where they are, what they're for. Just make the whole process of decluttering as easy and convenient as possible. It's all right if you don't feel motivated, just stay committed to doing it. Also, remember that consistency is more important than intensity. So if you want to just commit to doing a little bit of decluttering each day, maybe 10 minutes, that is gonna get you farther than burning yourself out by doing a few really intense projects and then you completely flop over and lose steam altogether and then it never happens, it never gets finished. So just remember that consistency is so important, and really the key here, that if you only spend a few minutes a day or a certain number of minutes every single week, it will get you really, really far in the long run. This is one of those basic, almost seems too obvious pieces of advice, but I absolutely love it. Staying consistent is going to get you so much farther than doing a lot up front and burning yourself out. So just stay committed whether or not you have motivation, and just keep plugging along, picking back up when things don't go right, or if you have to take a break, and not being hard on yourself. Thanks guys for watching, and stay tuned. I have more videos coming.